This is the world's most expensive foundation. I'm going to be using it to do a makeup look, and I'm going to tell you how I destroyed a girl. Let's call her Jessica. I'm calling this series Machiavellian Makeup. I will be talking about revenge, sociopathy, psychopathy, narcissism, and all things makeup. Lots of different makeup looks. So far, I have simply just used my skincare, which is the La Prairie range. I have a little bit of color corrector on, and I've used the Tatcha Silk Canvas because La Prairie doesn't want to make a primer, apparently. Okay, so let's get into this. I met this girl. As we said, we're going to call her Jessica. Jessica was an online friend I made during the pandemic. She wasn't the type of person I would befriend in a normal setting, but at the time I was in this, in a very confined space, as most people were. And so I thought, what better thing to do than to make some new friends? So I was in a group chat with this girl, and she was really, really fun to talk to. She had wild stories, and I'm all about drama. I live for that shit. So I became friends with her and her general group of friends. They were all kind of like her. They were pretty dull, to say the least. Now, the thing about Jessica was, she was very, very mentally unstable. And I say that as someone who does have, a personality disorder. This is something I recognized pretty early on. And I hate to say it, but it kind of made her easier to manipulate. And sometimes she just needed the manipulation because she didn't know what the hell she was doing with life, and she needed to be told. Also, it looks like the shade is light for me, but I promise you it's going to work out in the end. I've tried this before. I have gotten extremely pale sitting at home doing all my coaching and everything, so this is actually going to work out just fine. So I'm using the Kevin Aquan Sensual Skin Enhancer as my concealer today because I do have hyperpigmentation around my under eyes and around my mouth just a little bit. But basically what happened next was we were in lockdown, so we got very, very bored, and we decided to mess with each other's exes. This was actually wild. So what we did was similar to Strangers on a Train. So we all got on Tinder and made profiles that were very, very legitimate looking and matched with each other's exes because we knew that they would be on Tinder. I think only one of them wasn't, but we still managed to get to him. Anyway, so this was really funny. So we basically started flirting with these guys on behalf of each other because we'd all been screwed over by these guys. And so we would text with them, flirt, play the long game. And then we would arrange a date to stand them up on. Now, you have to remember we were in New South Wales at this time, and COVID laws forbade anyone going out of 5 kilometres of their residence unless it was a medical emergency, etc. So these guys were risking fines and imprisonment to get laid. Pathetic, I know. So these guys did end up coming to try and meet us, and we would stand them up and then send them horrible messages. And then one time we actually put in a report to the police about them disobeying COVID laws, which they absolutely were. I wish I could show you the screen. Too bad, but some of it was actually hilarious. And let's just say they got a little bit insecure about the things that we were hammering in on. By the way, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Brightening Powder to set the concealer because as much as I love it, it creases like a motherfucker. Yes, so after this, I should have expected her to be a little bit unhinged if she's going along with these plans. But to be fair, I went along with the plans, so I can't go around calling myself unhinged too. I mean, I can, but what ended up happening was that there was a lot of infighting within the group. So we started splitting up over time. So we kind of lost two of our group members because they couldn't do it anymore, because their empathy and their guilt was kicking in. They were like, oh, I feel so bad for doing this. I don't know if I can live with myself. Oh, I might need to tell them. And I was like, are you serious? Like, you told me this guy abused the crap out of you and you feel this guilty about it? Look, honestly, it doesn't resonate with me, but then again, I am not like most people. So I don't expect all of my reactions to be the same as theirs. So she started calling me a bitch behind my back, and I don't know where that came from exactly. I think she just enjoyed drama, which I get, but I don't know. Why would you start a personal attack? Amongst other things, she said that I was snobby and rude and horrible, and, you know, like, she couldn't believe what a bad person I was when she did the exact same thing as me. Like, we all did the same thing. I don't understand how that makes me the bad person instead of her. So, I'm a very confrontational person. Like, if you're talking smack about me, I will come and talk to you about it. I will ask you why you're being a piece of shit. You're not going to get away with it when it comes to me. So, of course, I went and confronted her. And she freaked out about this. And she was like, to my other friend who had told me, oh, fuck my hair. So she was, to my friend, she was like, why did you tell her? I told you this was meant to be private. And he was like, look, I didn't see any problem in telling her what happened because it just sounded like you and her needed to work it out. And so then to me, she said, oh, I can't believe he told you. That is so terrible. And instead of saying sorry, she said, I'm just naturally two-faced. Yeah, that was her explanation, was that she was naturally two-faced. You can understand my confusion here on that one. So I cut the bitch off because I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. Then what happened was I launched my book, and she tried everything in her power to make that an absolute fail. And the thing is, it's hard to fail a book launch when you have a publicist. And so we did pretty well overall. There wasn't a whole lot she could do. I mean, she wrote a lot of bad reviews because she obviously didn't read the book, so she wrote shit that had nothing to do with the book. Anyway, she didn't actually realize that I'm quite good friends with some of the wholesalers. So they had the comments removed because, firstly, they weren't just. Secondly, she didn't buy the book. And thirdly, they weren't relevant to the book at all. And they literally attacked me. Like, they were like, this a shit book written by a shit author. It was wild, is all I'm going to say. Like, she was fucked in the head. After a little bit of this, I started getting sick and tired of her bullshit. I just couldn't understand a girl being this stupid and this unhinged. She was with a guy who dumped all her stuff in an empty car lot, and she still thought that he loved her. So, I mean, she's not the brightest person around, but you don't go around pissing off people who do have the means to harm you. And actions have consequences. This is the Hermes blush, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So she was spreading images of herself doing intimate acts. And I'm not just saying individual photos and videos. She would send drop boxes of nude photos, videos, and sexual activity to random men off Tinder. Now, she sent this to two of my male friends. She thought that I would get access to it and spread it around and tell her parents and whatnot. And of course, I wanted her to believe that because that is the logical route that anyone would assume. My whole intention is to not betray women in that manner. So what I actually did was report her for committing and spreading CP, because in those images and videos, she was under 18. Some were taken when she was 16, some were taken when she was 17. She was publicly humiliated at work because those were the addresses I gave, her work address and her home address. Okay, can we talk about how beautiful the Hermes blush is? This is the color I've been looking for so long. And honestly, I thought all of the Hermes products were kind of a dud. Like, I look at the packaging, honestly, I'll show you later. But the packaging is an absolute dud. Let's go into the highlight because this actually looks pretty good too. So after she realized that her actions had consequences, she sent me messages of apology. And then she proceeded to unsend them because, like I said, she was mentally unstable. She'll go through moods. She would be cycling through immense moods. And she had bipolar disorder, but she refused to take medication for it because she said that she was very stable and that she just didn't need it. And psychiatrists don't know anything about medication. Yeah. So after this, I decided to go after her a little bit more because this woman tried to ruin my career. Part of my life is being an author, is being published, and to receive undue, terrible criticism is really creating a lot of rage within me. This was at the time. And she told a mutual friend that she was trying to trigger ASPD and NPD traits in me. Like, she was trying to imply that I was ugly, blah, 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 that I was untalented, that I didn't know what the hell I was doing, which was really quite embarrassing on her part because I'm very confident about how I look. I know I get trolls from the manosphere telling me I'm ugly, blah, 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 and that's really funny to me because I literally get paid for my looks. But I was like, why would you purposely try to trigger someone's personality disorder? That just sounds so fucked up. And this girl is fucked up. Like 50 Shades of fucked up. So while I was away, I used the Charlotte Tilbury Queen of Glow and the Eyes to Mesmerize in Pillow Talk. And I think... Sorry, I just winked, but I think this looks really good. Now I'm going to try this product. It's from Chantecaille, and I trust everything Chantecaille does. So it's a glowy setting powder, which I've never seen before. Usually they're all mattifying, and you know I love a glow. Her work had to do with children. So it's safe to say she got fired pretty damn quickly. And I don't think she'll be getting a teaching job anytime soon. I don't know if she spent any time being interviewed or, questioned for what she did, but I would hope so at that point. Also, this powder, actually really, really, I'm enjoying it. Does it give me more glow? Let me know in the comments. I'm just going to set everything. Also, I promised you I would show you the Hermes packaging. How boring is that? This is not what I paid, $115 for. Thank you guys for watching. I will go more in depth next time with the makeup, and I will have info, revenge, and so much more. And here's the completed look. I'm going to put on a tiny bit of lip oil. And we're done.